Hello, welcome back to Property Spy. This is the channel where we look at all things property. We dig out the details and we try and work out where the deals are, where the deals are missing, and where information is, although it might be in plain sight, but information you might be missing. Now, today we're going to look at properties advertised in Burnley. Now, Burnley traditionally tends to be a cheaper area. So I decided to review what's on Rightmove in Burnley and review something that's really cheap. And to my surprise, when you go into Burnley, the expensive properties, you've got something for 2 million here for 100 properties, is land with planning. Then you have this one that's for 800,000. 8 studio apartments and 3 commercial units. It's a new build, so that looks interesting but rather expensive. So as I kept scrolling, whilst I was looking for stuff that was more 20 grand and 25 grand, because Burnley has that reputation, I saw this one, 600,000. The attraction here is the yield is 10.4%. If we had a look at the cheapest properties on this site, let's look. £1, that seems to be in every area these days. Pound, it's £100. So a house 5,000. Okay, that one's in auction. So a house that is 5,000, you've got to ask yourself a question: when is it likely to increase in value, and why is it 5,000? You've got these ones at 25,000. So this is more in keeping with the reputation of that area. So you really do need to be careful where you put your money and try and research the area first before you go up to invest. Don't just buy an auction and assume you'd make the money. All of these areas have their special situations and nuances, and can be very tricky to make money. Certainly with capital appreciation, it's very difficult in these areas, but depends on what your strategy is. For today's video, we are going to look at this property that is in Burnley, 13 bedrooms. Now, things you need to look at straight away. It says here cash buyers only. Why is it cash buyers? Maybe as we go through, you might see some of the reasons why that's probably the case. So Burnley, Manchester Road Station, 0.3 miles away, so not bad. If we do a street view for the area, okay, so that's for sale. Don't know when this video was taken, 2022 maybe. Okay, some nice looking buildings, I have to say, but I don't know what they're worth. Yeah, bit of a Scottish feel to it. Okay, so keep going. Okay, it seems like a nice clean area. Okay, so we carry on going. Now this is not exactly how I'd expected, but it looks okay. I think it's quite a nice looking area. Okay, so that's where this property is. So it ticks that box. Doesn't look like the cheaper end of town, so it's near town centre, but then again you need to be clear as to where your tenants are going to come from. Okay, let's exit the map. Let's look at some pictures. Okay, buildings, dark blocks, very nice inside, looks really nice. Okay, kitchen is modern. If this is how it still looks, then that's okay. Okay, different room sizes. Oh, wow. Okay. Right. At this stage, let's look at the floor plans. Right, so there are 4 floors. Floor 1 has a kitchen, has a living room, bedroom, and then there's a shared bathroom. Now I'd be guessing, but I think this is a HMO, house and multiple occupation, and Okay, so essentially means that people living in the property are not all related, and they're all individual tenants in their own right, and you're providing communal facilities for all of them. The rooms look really nice and very, very neat. Now, the other question would be, what sort of tenants are you going to have in there? Let's read some of the text on this one. If you go back. Okay, cash buyers only, fully tenanted investment property, 10.4%. So 62,400, 22.6% HPI. So HPI, what is HPI? So that's house price index, I believe. And what is the house price index? So house price index is a measure of the movement of single family houses in the United States. So they've adopted that for the UK. It's the same thing. It's essentially the price growth over the last 5 years. That's my understanding. So obviously, because it happened 5 years ago or over the last 5 years, doesn't mean that 5 years hence it will be the same. It could be better, it could be worse, but that's some healthy growth. If it increased by 20% again in the next 5 years, then you can add another £130,000 to that. So that's not bad, but we can't invest based on that basis. Now, what are the concerns you need to have? Right, so you have this property, you have 13 rooms, you only have 2 bathrooms. It's a fairly large property. How are you going to manage and maintain this property? You've got 13 different tenants when it's fully let. There's no indication here of the tenancies. And why is it saying cash buyers only? Because you can get a mortgage for HMOs. Albeit slightly trickier for a lot of people, but you still can. But why is it cash buyers only? So that should be something to raise your eyebrows about. You could use that to negotiate harder on this property and get a discount potentially, or find out why it has to be cash buyers. It might be the speed of sale, it might be a desperate seller, a motivated seller. It could be anything. So the property is fully let on 6 months tenancy from April 2021. Okay, so now we're in 2022, nearly April 2022. So you'd want to find out whether those tenancies are still in place. These pictures taken in 2021. This was reduced last in November 2021. So obviously it's not sold for quite a while. Recently refurbished property spread over 3 floors. The floor plan showed us 4 floors. So that's something else to look at and question. Shared kitchen, shared living room. Vendor pays all the bills. Okay, so if you purchase, you'd have to pay all those bills. Then the property is fully let on 6 months. Tenant is on a rolling contract and not looking to extend for another fixed period. Right, so was this let? This is probably let to an operator. Right. So potentially you could get this property and not have a tenant. Wow. All right, so that's something to think about. Monthly rent, 5,200. Let's do the calculator. So 5,200 divided by 13, £400 per room, roughly. And then you've got to pay your council tax, electricity, water, internet, and all of that. So £600. Total cost per annum is 7,957. Okay. You still have a decent profit if all of that money comes in for the entire year. Another thing to look at is find out in this area if the council will charge council tax on a per room basis. Because some local authorities are starting to charge per room now. So with these 13 rooms, you suddenly have 13 council taxes to pay. So that's something to watch out for. And the councils are trying to raise money any which way. So that's definitely one consideration. So a few things really to bear in mind on this one. In terms of the headline figures, it looks great, but you do need to ask all these questions. Are you going to have a tenant? when you purchase and if you purchase. How long will those tenants be in place for? Look for evidence that this rent was actually achieved. Make sure that the bills and the values that they're placed at are actually correct. And then on an ongoing basis, how are you going to maintain and manage this property? Are you going to be in the area? Do you have to find an agent? If you find an agent, then you have to pay the agent some amount to look after the property. So maybe 15% because of the number of rooms and because it's HMO and the management overhead. So 15-20%. So all of that is going to remove from the money you'd make. So these are things to look out for. Quite often the information is in plain sight, but you need to interpret what's being said. And then the final one is, if you come to sell, is it going to take you this long to be able to sell this property? So it seems to me like this property has been on the market for at least 6-7 months. It says it was reduced 2nd November. That's not when it was listed. So one's not sure when it was listed. So if it was listed earlier in the year and they've had to reduce to get to this price, you have to expect that when you come to sell, it will be the same for you. So are you a long-term investor? Are you investing money that you want to quickly take out of the property? What value can you add if you took on this property? The floor plan shows 4 floors, but here we're seeing 3 floors. So these are questions you need to ask, and do your numbers, do your figures, find out more about the area, phone agents in that area and ask them questions. So that'll be it for today. If you do have any questions, do get in touch, send your comments. If you do need help appraising any properties or stacking deals, get in touch, leave a comment and one of us will be in touch. All right, so usually we use a platform called valapp.io to appraise properties. So it's something that you can get involved with. Just go in there, register, and you'd be able to appraise properties free of charge. So get in touch and let us know if we can be of any assistance. So thank you very much and happy investing.